experience starting now on 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk. And talk we shall. Welcome to the Big Hard Facts today. I did promise last week, after we had Eugene Abels here, we promised that we were going to bring him back so that we could talk about re-engineering our mindsets and, repositioning ourselves for good governance and accountability. And my guest decided that he was going to stay true to it because, you see, I'm essay reminder and I always remind people to, the promises that they made. But joining us via Zoom this evening on Hard Fact is Eugene Abels. He is the Executive Director, the Extra Step Initiative, and he's also a good governance advocate. Eugene, it's so good to have you join us. Good evening.
Yes, thank you for having me once again.
Great. I don't know why we can't see you. Where are you? We can't see you.
Why? People can't see me. Why?
We can't see you. We don't know why. You need to try and turn on your camera. But while Eugene is doing that, I want to give you okay, Eugene, I think we can see you now. We see you now, but I think you're backing the light, so we really can't see your face. Anyway, let me give Lagos a little nugget I got from a writer called Paul Orajiaka. He said, if we can harness the power of citizens to think creatively and critically and aspire to take charge of their future, then each and every Nigerian can become an asset for development and an agent for change. If we can harness the power of citizens thinking critically. Now, I'm supposing that if you were to take a random sample of thought leaders across the country, they divide into two. Of course, they'd have like two separate mindsets. And one of those, some of them would say that they're optimistic about the future, and the others would, talk about doom and gloom. And that's because of, the prisms through which they look at where Nigeria is headed. Hence this conversation, because the truth is, a fairly strong case can really be made in defense of either of these views. However, what both perspectives can agree on is that a shift in the mindset of people from seeing problems as obstacles that cannot be overcome to believing problems can be solved is what will take our country forward. Eugene, once again, it's good to have you join us in the studio.
Thank you for having me.
Let's start by, talking about the reason why we must have this mindset change. Why now? Why the sense of urgency? We could have done it back in 1999. We could have done it in 2005, in 2015. Why 2023?
For me and you, this is not the first time we've spoken about it. We spoke about it way back in Port Harcourt.
Yeah.
Port Harcourt is more vibrant, even though because the challenges we have, from the political class, it's very vicious and violent sometimes. So we've had this conversation, but now it's coming to the international, to the national conversation because of how the last election turned out. The emergence of a P2B who went on a populist drive gave a lot of hope to people. And even I think the most vociferous or the strongest campaigner for the last election was INEC. INEC was very dramatic and enticing, and the would-be voters, they were so nice that people went out, young people. INEC communicated effectively, and the strategy and communication was excellent. So they got a lot of people who hitherto would have said, who voted EP. They all joined, and so the conversation became broadened. The hopes were lifted, and the expectations were quite high. And particularly with all the references by P2B about Bangladesh and China and the rest of them. Some people have started seeing El Dorado, forgetting that there's work, you need to walk the walk to get to that point. I think that's why 2023 became very necessary for us to have this conversation. But most importantly, yesterday we saw a young man trying to jump from a bridge in Falama. Luckily, he was rescued. And this is not the Nigeria we used to know. Most importantly, a lot of people are disillusioned. This generation thinks that Jackpot started with them. No, Jackpot started with Andrew checking out. You remember the NTA days, Franco Lizzie and Co. So there's been a whole full circle. And it is time for us to talk to people, to communicate with them, to tell them that challenges come with life. Each generation have been tailored to meet challenges. You cannot be created in the image of God and have the Holy Spirit in you. The worship was taken from the temple of Jerusalem and placed in you, and you will not have challenges. When you overcome these challenges, then you have testimonies to give. It doesn't have to be in the church. The results will show. Your standard of living will improve. The dollar will become 1 for 1, whether you denominate or you color it or whatever. So I think it's important for us to have this conversation now. To what we're trying to do, me and you now, is to show them where we need to go, that we need to begin to think aright, come down from that horse and begin to see this challenge. That what you're looking at in Abuja, the solution needs to begin from your doorstep and your ward, from your street.
Let me start with finger pointing. I mean, looking around the country, it's easy that we see very easy examples. You know, although the country has made some socioeconomic progress in recent years, you know, there's a long way to go. I think the World Bank put out their 2020 Human Capital Index, one of the most important measures for development. Nigeria ranked 150 out of 157 countries, which is really terrible. There's political instability, unrest, insecurity, all of these things. But then the easiest thing we see happening is finger pointing. And this does not just happen amongst us as citizens, also between the politicians. Let's start from there, because there's always the blame game as opposed to what do we do here and now. How do we even start navigating those waters?
Yeah, like, if you refer to our last conversation, I said the primary responsibility rests with us. It's because of we've not done things properly. That's why those whom we have employed are doing what they have done, and they have messed up the system. But like parents who have enrolled children in school, and we drop them at the gate and handed them over to officials of the school. And when they come back from school, we do not ask for their homework, which is like a further conversation where you're interrogating the process, their homework. If this child that I paid this money for and I took to school, I invested my resource or time resource, if the child was properly tutored, if the child is understanding. So even while you're supporting the child to do the homework, you understand, you know what the child was taught, you know the direction where they're going. But what we do, like I quoted Father Kuka, that we're looking for good men to come and run Nigeria. Nigeria does not need good men. Nigeria needs competent people, and Nigeria to lead. And Nigeria needs competent people to follow and ask questions and demand for service. Now we must rise above the fear and begin to ask questions. If you go on Twitter, the issues of the last elections are still on the front burner. Wonderful. Can we just take this down now to the world level? Can we ask the last administration, not about Buhari, Buhari is one, the governors in your states, how come? Yes, where is the budget for last year? Can you account for it? Yes, if you need data, National Bureau of Statistics have data. Budget IT has data and budgets. Now, for states that don't have, that their budgets are invisible,
are not open,
like Rivers, like River States,
and Cross River,
demand for those budgets. The charlatan in Cross River States, who came up with a 1 trillion naira budget, it's time to demand for that budget, and let's do a review on it. If what came in, how was it spent? The local government chairman. So when these questions begin to be asked at the local level, the people, even the local government chairman, even with his godfather, he will have no option. The next person will be careful. Let's leave center Let's go to our wards where we walk on the road, those streets we walk, those schools we attend, the primary schools, the secondary schools, the primary health center. Let us take it there. Let's take the pressure there. All of these people are enjoying what Tinubu is suffering. Yes, while they are all shielded. No, the ministers, you're coming to run your mouth, you want to do ABC. Where is the budget? Are you not supposed to address the media and say, this is what, where are the handover notes? What was handover to you? Where are the, what in terms of liability, in terms of completed contracts? Is it not time we begin to harmonize contracts? That we, if NDDC awards a contract, that project should be geotagged so that Ministry of Works does not also present the same contract somewhere, or road maintenance units. So we need to put the science, the GPS, the GIS to apply to these things then. We need to take it up with them. If we don't do those things, nothing is going to change.
Eugene, we were having a community U report today where the callers are the reporters, and then we just take the information. And someone said that we've been talking about, for example, the roads in Lagos are highly, highly deplorable. And you were in Lagos, you experienced some of the traffic and the messiness that comes with it. And someone said, and it really did touch me, that we just keep talking every day, and they don't care, they're not doing anything. So that's one way or the other brings this lack of zest, that lack of urgency to push, because people feel that no matter how much you push, these people don't care. But how do we make them care?
Well, go and you check history. How did we make them care as military rulers? Why did Babangida ask for the nation to debate structural adjustment? What's this word? Structural adjustment, because of austerity measures. It was because of the debates they came up with the word, they reframed structural adjustment, because of the pressure. Every beer parlor, every corner, people were discussing the Bretton Woods organizations, their origin, their history, their track records, and how it was going to affect Nigeria. So if you check the history, you find out that how did we, when we were young and in universities and secondary schools, what did we do in under military rule, where you could be shot? Then the mobile police were the deadliest force you had anywhere because they were well trained. Now, how did we protest that in 1984, a girl who was a bank secretary, company secretary, led the protest in Nigeria that shut down the country because a student was killed in ABU. Yes. So, and she was in all the way in Ife, and she led that protest. Yeah, so you can check history. How did the women in Aba protest to stop that the latitude and the emboldenment of warrant chiefs? That you can find. Even Margaret Echo, when she was fighting against the killing of twins back then, no, this lady,
Mary Slessor,
yeah, where the likes of Margaret Echo, they were followers and so on. And do you think people didn't challenge them? There are people who benefit from the roads. How, if you do all of this, today, every area has a branch of Nigerian Constitution. There's something called class action. We can go to court to compel action. We can compel, if the assembly refuses to act, we can go to court. It might look stupid. Ghani was always doing it. Yes, we can protest peacefully. And if one of us come and stand on the road and you can't go to work 2 times, you will ask simply, what is the problem? Somebody will come out and say, okay, what's the problem? Say, this road, do it now. Let them pass. If I remind you of the Eleme Road, people were talking or not, when the community came out and something was done about it. People said that the president has promised that he's going to do something about it. If you do not protest, what you cannot confront, you cannot change. Nobody's going to do it for you. Yeah. Let's not give up hope. The challenges are there because your refusal to act is a lot of profit for a lot of people. So, but if you act, it reduces their profit. Sometimes they'll use fifth columnists to divide you or to put fear, to sell fear to you. The question we asked from River State, how many them be? total elected officials nationwide are less than 15,000 people compared to 200 and something million people.
I like how you said that, because that's also some of the fears that people express, that they have the army, they have the police, they use them against us. I mean, you hear people say, what happened during NSAS? Me, I'm not doing it again. No. You hear people also, are adamant lately about going out to vote. Somebody even attacked me today on the show. I had to keep trying to say, look, we can't give up, if we hit a snag. But again, whether we believe it or not, we're going to lose a huge chunk of that voting public from what we had in the previous election. So where do you even start from to start having that conversation with them when they're looking you in the eye and saying justice is not favorable to the common person? It's supposed to be the hope of the common man.
We need to think broadly. Like I was saying something, that we need to think broadly. Yes, if you lose your bulk of voters, then you have just signed yourself up for slavery.
I want you to say that again, please.
If the bulk of them who are young, I'm counting down. I've done my part under military regime. I've done my part under NPN, under the Third Republic, and you now say you're giving up. You want to leave it for them. Then quickly, quietly buy chain and change yourself, and don't ever say anything. Just go to Twitter, go to TikTok, leave Twitter. Don't say anything, because that's what you're doing. Yeah. God has given you something. Without the Constitution, they are nothing. And you have rights in that Constitution. What is wrong if people begin to rise and question the Nigerian Bar Association? Why are you quiet? Don't forget that every area now has a chapter of the Bar Association. Nigerian Bar Association. Why can't we put pressure on Nigerian Bar Association to lead the campaign that if you need to work in a firm, you have to have a first degree. Then if you have to run any part of Nigeria, we need to have the necessity. And we'll begin to talk to ourselves all over the country that we must force our National Assemblyman to amend the Constitution. And any governor or politician who goes against it, we rise up against that person. We cannot go into the next election the way it is. As it stands, the Constitution does not require you to have any form of qualification to be president. The challenges globally are becoming more complex. It is time for intelligent, competent persons to go to lead by the front, and it has to start from the world level. Yes. So we need to change that. We must stop delegates election to any political party. We must make political parties membership to be online. If I go online, I should see that Mary Ann Okon is a member of XYZ party. Her membership of that party is associated to her name, NIN. If she's the campaign, the authorities and everybody know that she's left to another party. It is not when elections come, you see people fighting over register, because the register is non-existent. There's one they write in it that becomes the register. The register should be public knowledge. So when you hire a crowd and fill a stadium, we know that you don't have up to 10,000 registered members with an NIN. So you can't do that, because the law expects you for your books to be audited at the end of an election. One cycle of election has ended. They are supposed to audit the political party to show us what they expended and how they got the money. These are things we can test severally, so that even the civil servants who are who are regulators or who are conductors of elections, we need to become a bit more careful. The National Assembly, we will set an agenda for the National Assembly, so that next time when they're offering you to go to the National Assembly, you will say, no, I don't want to go because I cannot speak English. Speaking there. By now, I expect that each young person on the internet will take you a member of National, post your photograph, bring up all your videos, show your names, all the times you have gone. If you have never come, you should not be at the president of the Senate. We must be interested. if we want a change.
Mm.
So by the time we check these basic things, them basic rules, them we why can't we even challenge the code of conduct you? What have you been doing? Come and account for what you're doing. How many staff do you have there? How much are you earning? And what this is your budget is online. You people are getting it. What have you done? How many cases have you won?
Wow, Eugene, this is very interesting. I mean, I'm rubbing my palms because this is some juicy information that we all are, sitting on. But we have to go a quick break. When we come back, I'll open the phone lines. Lagos is going to chime in on this conversation. Stay with us. It's still Hard Facts. I'm Mary Ann Okon, and we're still talking about re-engineering our mindsets.
Niger, it is time to celebrate with One Play because One Play has brought you this time Niger at 63, a jackpot that is worth 250,000 naira. Yes, you heard me. 250,000 naira will be going to two lucky people. One person will be walking away with 150,000 naira. The other lucky person will be walking away with 100,000 naira all to themselves.
media partners Cool FM, Nigeria Info, Wazobia.
Welcome on board BetKing Aviator
This is Nigeria Info.
Let's celebrate.
advocate, and he's the executive director of the Extra Step Initiative. We've been talking about re-engineering our mindsets towards good governance and accountability. Now it's time for you to talk back to us, Lagos. Eugene has been doing all the talking. If you've been listening and you want to chime in, the phone lines are open for you. 014657190. That's the number for you to call. Unfortunately, 0700 is still down, but 014657190. That's the number for you to call. You can send us a message on WhatsApp. You could join the conversation. Also, we are live on YouTube and Facebook. Just drop your comments. We'd like to read and hear from you. So we're talking about how to make sure that we're part of the good governance agenda and making sure that our leaders are, held accountable to do the right thing. Because it looks like we have somewhat jettisoned that responsibility of the citizen of the Federal Republic. And somewhat also after the aftermath of this election has also somewhat dampened the morale of certain people. But that doesn't mean, or does that mean that we should give up? Anyway, Eugene has been giving us some very, very, very informative facts and reasons why we should change the way that we think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Join the conversation. We'd like to hear from you. Let's go to the phone lines quickly. Hello, welcome to Hard Facts. Hello. Hello, good evening. Welcome to Hard Facts. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Please turn off your radio.
Okay. Oh.
All right, turn off your radio when you call us. It's very important. Hello, welcome to Hard Facts.
Miriam, good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, Mr. Mbanga.
All right, go ahead.
Well, actually, as for me, I don't believe that Nigeria will be a better place.
Why?
By things that we see. And then my question is this. I'm still asking even some people, Nigeria we have today, and Nigeria we have 90s, early 90s, which one are far better than what we have?
Okay.
What we have now is better than what we have area 90s. Rather, what we have in this era that the Nigeria or the system of the world is getting, we find it very hard for we here to get it right.
Okay, Mr. Mba, thank you very much for calling. I'm only letting you go because your line has been breaking. But Eugene, he has a very important question. He's saying, first things first, he's being a bit pessimistic. He's saying he never envisages or sees a Nigeria that'll be better. And then he's saying, really, how come other countries are getting it right and we're not?
Those countries that got it right, go and look at their history. People paid the price, some died. America today that we refer to, classmates went to war with each other. So the American Civil War. And at the same time, you see how what people do for what they believe in. Israel, a country with a very high standard of living. What they've been fighting the politicians to make sure they don't cage the Supreme Court to shout system. Hong Kong, we saw what kids do for 7 months. A bed space in Hong Kong is about $3,500. Today, $1,500 is 1 million naira. $1,000, 1 million naira. So somebody's paying almost 4 million naira a month for a bed space. But they could come out under that code for 7 months to insist on they were brutalized, some are still in prison and so Ukraine standing up to a superpower, a bully, what generations had endured for over 60 years. They gave up 2,600 over 2,000 nuclear weapons. They were, how will I say, they were, there's a word there, there's a word I've forgotten. They were not realistic to have given up those weapons. If they kept the nuclear weapon, Putin would try this shit this time. But what they're simply saying is that every nation, you must sit for the exam and you have to pass the exam. When the exams you pass them, the celebrations will begin because the results become available to you. Berian, I called you the that day and it was early, we were just waking up. I wanted, because I was listening to several networks and everybody's saying the same thing. I said, why don't you start a conversation and let's begin to ask the public, how do we get out from where we are? I would like to raise that conversation here. And let me break it down. What be the things we make them possible for the things where we don't like to happen? What don't we like in the Constitution? I know that graduates.
Eugene, how many of us know? Eugene, how many of us know what's in the Constitution?
We've been hearing it. We listen. Yes, we can beg. We can force the Nigerian banks. If we abuse them well, they will begin to come out and say, let them educate us about the Constitution. What is it that we don't like? I think it is morally wrong for you to want to manage a country of over $20 billion and you don't have a certificate. The Constitution permits you to run it. So we must set an agenda for the National Assembly that this is what we want. The Constitution must be changed. America goes for constitutional amendments over the time. We are not happy the way INEC has worked. We should tell National Assembly that we insist that a president must not appoint an INEC chairman. Then with anything, we come out say, if I want the country to move, fine. If you don't want the country to move, we go scatter them. That's the way it should be. But we should be articulated enough to list out those things so that this battle now, once the Supreme Court rules, if it's in the favor of the people, fine. If it doesn't work the way some people expect, the country will move on. But how do you want it to be? Another election cycle has begun. Politicians are already taking position. So people are earning allowance in National Assembly. Let us ask for work to be done. We cannot go into the next election without changing the Constitution. We must cause it to happen. Okay. Nigerian Labour Congress, stop coming to tell us no subsidy. No. You cannot run Nigerian Labour Congress the way it was run in 1920. Today, I expect Nigerian Labour Congress, because all the leaders are driving Land Cruiser jeeps, bulletproof jeeps. I expect them to pay experts to come and educate even the leadership how economically it is possible that when your till is open, you can do A, B, C. That's what I expect from them. If they don't have where to hire people, they should go to Covenant University, Redeemers University, University of Port Harcourt, Lagos Business School, free advert. Bring their people, eggheads. Nigerian Labour Congress has money to do that. That's the kind of, if the Labour Congress, what of in the oil and gas sector? Come and tell us what is feasible. What you should do economically.
I wish we had time. Unfortunately, this always happens to us when we're getting to the juicy parts of the show. Unfortunately, we have just 15 seconds. But I want to say thank you, Eugene Abels, for being part of the conversation today. I have to go for this break. Hopefully, when I come back, I can properly sign out. But thank you, Eugene, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.